J.D. Vance actually comes out and states the things that we want the most, a Christian nation, and that it's okay to be a white man. Isn't that crazy how those two things have become like the most dangerous things to say in politics? We stated them, and it left everybody going crazy. J.D. Vance is starting to say the things that we were hoping most our politicians say. Now, sadly, the only other person that really spoke just high and mighty about Christianity was Nicki Minaj, was a rapper who honestly is not a conservative probably at all, but is willing to speak up for Christians against the persecution they're getting from Muslims. Today we're going to discuss that, how we need more people like this, willing to speak up. That doesn't mean we're perfected. That doesn't mean that we have all the right answers. But what it does mean is we have people that are not being politicians that are wanting to say the things out loud that's important to Americans. We're going to talk about what Anna Paulina Luna said. Things that, again, we want to hear our leaders say. Not only say, but actually walk it and be the light. We're going to discuss that. Also, we're going to talk about what crypto, a new leaked video from Donald Trump, things that, again, I don't support. I don't support crypto. I don't support this surveillance CBDC. I don't support stablecoin. This is the way of the future, I know. But wait till you hear why I believe Donald Trump is moving towards stablecoins and crypto. He just let the cat out of the bag. And again, I love Donald Trump, but this is one thing I do not agree on is crypto. I love how people say Bitcoin is the gold standard. Well, why do we need a new gold standard when we have gold that's skyrocketing? We'll discuss all that with money. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the evils of the world. Now, the evils of our world is really based on some, maybe our government connections, maybe the intelligence services. We're going to hear what Maxwell and Epstein may have been working on that's still going on to this day. Things they were pushing for that was evil, we would call evil, eugenics, that our government may be doing now. We're going to discuss that and so much more. There was another CIA, former CIA agent said the reason that the government hadn't come out with UFO stories yet is because I think it's too dark and too disturbing for people to understand. I think he's right in one facet, that we can't handle some of these hard truths. Because if we really hear about the files, if we really hear about the dangers of what our government services may be doing, it actually may cause for civil unrest. Let's discuss all this and so much more. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay. But let us know what you think about the content of today's video. Again, we're so humbled by you coming back and watching our content each and every day. Now let's go to what J.D. Vance and kind of ending M-Fest actually happened. I want to bring up what Luna said, I want to bring up what Gabbard said, and then of course the rapper that got put on stage. Again, not that I support her music by any means, but she was actually saying the quiet parts out loud. First, let's go to what J.D. Vance said, because I think he won the night. Now, I said this before J.D. Vance got on stage. I actually believe that Benny Johnson probably was the best speaker because he was trying to build the coalition back. He was trying to do, to me, more bridge building on the Republican side and actually saying, look, our target should not be within. It's basically the left. So I actually thought Benny did probably the best when it comes to just normal political pundits or normal speakers or influencers. But I do want to bring up what J.D. Vance said, because I do believe he brought it home, and I think this is exactly what we want to hear from our leaders if they're truly leading us. Now again, not just to talk it, but to truly walk it. I want you to listen to a few things he said. In the United States, you don't have to apologize anymore for being white. Now I know that sounds crazy. And you may say, well, that's a stupid comment. Why would you care about that so much? Well, the reason I care about it so much is for some reason, we've almost made it like guilty to be a Caucasian person. We've almost made it guilty to be successful. We've almost made it guilty to be a Christian. Well, he actually is calling out some of the things that just makes normal Americans happy about being a normal American again. We've made this mentality, and I think we've done this in our school systems and government and news has helped, is that we've made everybody feel guilty for being an American, and especially a white American and a conservative American. Now, this is the same party that we're fighting. For instance, I want to say two things about the Democrats, and this is why it's so important. We have Mamdani, who is saying he wants to basically tax white neighborhoods more. We have AOC stating out loud, and she will be the front runner along with Gavin Newsom for the presidential, 2028. She states that we need to look at making sure that we're controlling speech when it comes to what people say, when it comes to, their thought patterns of free speech. What is free speech? Meaning, she's kind of doing like Hillary Clinton, that she's saying, well, free speech is free speech, but if we believe it's hate, then it's not free speech anymore. And so what she was talking about there was the white Christian man who was pushing for, his beliefs. She says, that's not American, the way America's run now. We need to get away from that thought mentality. So we have the other side stating that, white people are bad and Christians are bad, and we don't want to stand with that. Remember now, they're tearing parts of the Bible out and busting out church windows that represent, holiness in Canada and UK now. You do realize that, right? So those same things that we're talking about, the dangers of the Democrat Party and what they're pushing, is exactly what's happening. So when J.D. Vance comes out and says it's okay to say that you're thankful for being a white Christian man, a white Christian American, I want you to listen to what else he states. Again, it goes along with this. J.D. Vance says, America has always been and will always be a Christian nation, and it will be by the grace of God. Now, this is true. We do believe this is a Christian nation, but that is slowly slipping, away from us because we're not willing to stand up for the truths and the morals and the values that we were basically raised on, that this nation was set upon. The Puritans set it upon it. The fact of the Revolutionary War, the signers of the Declaration of Independence, was around 96% Christian. We are a Christian nation, and when we stray away from that, what we're going to become is a demise of every other empire like they have throughout history. When they turned away from God, when they turned away from morals and values, when they turned away from the family, they fell. He said the fruits of true Christianity are good husbands, patient fathers, builders of great things, slayers of dragons, and men who are willing to die for principle, and that's what God asked them to do. It's better to die as a patriot than to live as a coward. Again, just bold as lions conversations happening from J.D. Vance. Now, does that make him perfect? Does that make him the juggernaut? Does that make him the most conservative, core Christian man in the world? No. But I like hearing this, and now I want to see people live this out. It shouldn't be just about Charlie Kirk. It shouldn't be just about J.D. Vance. It shouldn't be just about Donald Trump. It's kind of like when churches say, well, the preacher's the one that preaches, so we're going to allow him to spread the gospel, and we're just going to, take it all in. That's actually not biblical at all. We're all supposed to be the lions. We're all supposed to be the ones that are pushing for shining God's light to this crazy world. And I think that that's where we have to say, okay, I love seeing our politicians do this. Now I want to see them live it out. But not only that, I want us to live it out. I want us to live it out in our communities and be the light that we're supposed to be. If we're wanting a Christian nation and we're wanting to stay a Christian nation, the only way we can do that is by representing Christ and having morals and values and starting to turn back to God. We need a revival. I want to read that one more time. Just so good right here. The fruits of true Christianity are good husbands. Man, have we lost our homes. Patient fathers, builders of great things, slayers of dragons, and men who are willing to die on principle. Man, that is just extremely wise words right there coming from J.D. Vance. He says we are a Christian nation and we want to stay a Christian nation. Now, think about that. That's one side of the aisle, and that's where we should say, you know what, it's not about the infighting. That's the kind of stuff that we should be fighting for right there. Christ followers, being okay with being a white Christian male. That's been such a bad thing for our society. You remember Joe Biden just a few years ago said worse than terror, that the white man, the white conservative man, is actually the biggest terror risk and the biggest risk to our society. Do you remember Merrick Garland saying the same thing? So we're just one administration removed from truly hating white Christian conservative men. Now, what I'm trying to say is we have to make families strong and Christ-like again. We have to make morals and values important again. Have you seen our cities? There was a picture. Y'all probably read it. Went viral on just about every social media platform. But I want you to look at this picture here. Now, we're not going to show you the video, but this was of Jeanette Markin. Now, there's no AP stories about this. There's no PBS stories about this. No New York Times, no NPR, no Wall Street Journal, no BBC, no CNN, no WAPO, no Reuters, no MSNBC about Jeanette Markin. And she was standing there, and a guy walked up, stole her goods, and beat her. Knocked her out. This is happening in American cities. So when we talk about leadership in conservative movements, instead of infighting, we should be targeting our resentment and our care and consideration to make America truly great again, away from targeting our side, and actually go towards the people like the AOC and the Mamdanis that is destroying our cities, along with bringing more migrants in. I want you to listen to what was said by, again, Nicki Minaj. Now, Nicki Minaj is not supposed to be the Christian spokesman, the conservative juggernaut. But she says, I'm fed up and I'm sick of seeing Christians, wherever they are in the world, be persecuted against. And she's bringing up definitely Africa, but because in Nigeria alone, in the last 14 years, they've had over 50,000 lives taken. Churches burned weekly. But no one talks about that. I don't hear Tucker Carlson doing stories on Nigeria and of North Africa and how the Muslims are hurting the Christians. We don't hear about that, do we? It's amazing how he calls himself a Christian, but he won't talk about those issues. And that's something that we can all on the conservative side get around, instead of making divisive comments. You know, it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that Nicki Minaj has a platform on MFest or on a Charlie Kirk event. Not that she's not welcome. I hope that she stays there, and I hope she becomes saved and lives for Christ and gets away from the crazy rap music that she has that's provocative. But she should not be the spokesman. It should be all those people on stage, instead of Steve Bannon, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly. Instead of them targeting each other, why don't we just say this is a Christian nation and let's target the left? Because they're the ones that's actually harming us. The Islamic movement and the left is what's targeting. Woke ideology and the religion of Islam is what is taking our rights away as Christians. But you know, here's what we do. We worry about the infighting and we worry about so much more, and then we miss out on actually what we should be doing. Prime example, I want to go to what Representative Luna said, because it just speaks to, well, are we truly trying to do things that are, that's honestly what we want as Christian conservatives, as libertarians, as freedom-minded individuals? I want you to listen to what Anna Paulina Luna said. Anna Paulina Luna calls out members of Congress for owning big pharma stocks. Said the majority of members of Congress have over $100 million personally invested in individual stock portfolios with pharmaceutical companies. Now, why does this have to do with what we were just talking about the Christian movement? Because our leaders are so compromised that their focus is not on actually freedom, liberty, and making America truly great. It's about fattening their own pockets with really crooked money. It says that NIH funding has come up with so much, but NIH funding and the things that they've done, the gain of the problems with 2020, all those things we paid for. So we're paying for the things that actually is making Congress filthy rich, but actually causing harm for us. It's actually not helping us whatsoever. Look at the rates of children and the dangers they've had with heart problems, and now with adults, 94%. Again, I keep bringing that number up. 94% of people are going to feel the effects of what they took. But that was funded by taxpayers, and Congress are actually getting into those same funds, becoming filthy rich on pharma and their stocks. Now, why again is that important? Because their focus is not on helping Americans. Their focus is on their own pocketbooks. I'm glad that J.D. Vance got up and said what he said. I'm glad that Nicki Minaj got up and said what she said. I'm glad that Anna Paulina Luna is trying to bring attention. But until we have people that are willing to not only talk about it, but truly walk it, we'll never change America. I mean, for instance, all these congressmen, if we have 30 or 40 congressmen willing to pray every day and seek Christ and vote strictly on what they wanted, it's still not a majority. But they can make an impact, couldn't they? They could change votes, couldn't they? I just want people to have values and morals again. I want people to enjoy family time again. I want people to be great fathers and mothers again. People want to be great husbands and wives again. We've lost that, like J.D. Vance says, and if we keep on losing that, we're going to lose our nation. If we really want our nation to be back on top, it takes it starting with the family. And when we fix the family, we'll fix all this other stuff. Congress, man, I honestly feel like they're a lost cause. Our bureaucracy, I feel like it's a lost cause. But here's what's great. It's God's grace is bigger than that. And so far, we've held God's grace. I mean, we actually are a blessed nation. And it's time for us to turn back and focus on Christ and focus on morals and values. I don't want to see people get up at AmFest and curse. I don't want to see them talk about God, but then also use profanity. I don't want them to just go up there and talk about things that are good for conservatives, but actually not live it. I don't want them to go out and just blast each other when they could be blasting AOC, Mamdani, and Newsom. There's a report that came out of California that says like the amount of waste and fraud in the homeless encampment situations is like $1 million per person. They're just wasting. Our tax dollars are going to waste. It's like $500 million in this slush fund, $1 million here, $30 million here, $200 million here. It's billions upon billions of dollars of waste of our tax dollars going to these kind of things while our cities are not safe. Now, why do I bring that up too? It's because why are our Republicans not actually going after them and actually targeting them and not only bringing them up, but actually arresting people for doing wrong, for the fraud that they were doing? I think this leads to a bigger story. There's a former CIA analyst that was just interviewed, and he said, the reason I believe that UFOs are not talked about is because I don't believe people can understand the truth. Because really what UFOs are probably just militaries that are building this new capabilities that we don't know actually what it is yet. Technology and really what they know, it would probably blow our mind if we truly know. The same CIA operative also said that, you know, if we really looked into the programs of eugenics and the programs of Planned Parenthood, if we really looked into Epstein and Maxwell's situations, he said the reason I think we're not going to expose it, the reason we have to redact it, it's not just because they want to keep the billionaires safe, the politics safe. He said, actually, I think it's way bigger than that. He said, I think you're going to see how complicit and how evil some of the biggest government players were, not just with trafficking, but that they knew it and they used it to benefit themselves. He said, I believe if we know the truth, it would actually cause for a firestorm in America because you're going to see so much corruption and how not only did they know it, they utilized it. And if they were not part of it, they knew it was going on and they used it as blackmail. That is huge. You don't believe me? Listen to this new report from Mario Nafal because it goes along with what the CIA operative just stated. This is from Mario Nafal. It says, Epstein and Ghislaine ran a DNA harvesting operations for eugenics and experiments. Now, if you remember, this is the ranch that he had out west. It says, Jason Georgiani spills that Ghislaine kept a live grenade desk ready to frag intruders. She feared that Olympians would come for her, a nickname that she would use in circles of highly prominent, powerful individuals, meaning she knew probably a lot about a lot of people, but she was always terrified that they're going to come and get her because of what she probably knew and what her and Epstein were up to. She had rotating hot Swedish male aides every 3 months on tourist visa. Blonde, smart guys whose hair and DNA mysteriously vanished from rooms, meaning they were using technology to find out about these people to harvest DNA. It says Epstein funded CRISPR. Now, CRISPR is a big deal. The government's involved all in CRISPR right now. A revolutionary gene editing technology adapted from bacterial immune systems that act like molecular scissors to precisely cut, remove, and insert DNA sequences in living organisms. You do realize that's what we're doing when we talk about changing the DNA makeup of Down syndrome children. This is how we're cloning certain animals. They're already cloning dogs. Tom Brady, I think, just cloned his dog. This is how this capability is going. So you tell me, the reason that I think we don't need to know the truth, or I do believe we need to know the truth, the reason I believe the government doesn't want us to know the truth is for this right here, is that they're still involved in the same stuff that Epstein was involved in. So the Epstein Ranch, the Zorro Ranch, is actually using eugenics, the things that they were doing even in World War II, the things that Bill Gates' dad was doing, the things that Planned Parenthood was a part of. I think what you're realizing is the reason that Pam Bondi and the reason that Kash Patel, the reason that Dan Bongino, the reason that they're not allowing for a lot of this information to be out is because I believe they know how crazy it will make people when they realize how evil some of the biggest players in our government are. That's what I think. Hope I'm wrong. But do I believe they should be exposed and all the cards fall where they lay? Absolutely. I hope Trump will do it. I really doubt it will happen. I believe you're going to see a release of the files that's just like the other ones were the other day. It's just straight black lines, because I believe they're not going to release a lot of the things that are incriminating the true stuff that we should know. And I think that that's what the CIA was talking about. It's not about the UFOs. It's not about the fact of how crazy and sleazy some of these congressmen are. I believe if we truly knew all the things and the dirtiness and the evil that our government was in, we would go back to saying we do need to become a Christian nation again, like J.D. Vance was talking about, because we have lost our way. Something to think about. I think that's why we won't know the truth, though. Now, last thing I want to talk about, and this is one that this actually was a caught on kind of a live camera, and it was kind of bad quality back when Trump was speaking at an event at his place. But something, again, I'm against, because I see gold skyrocketing. I see the fact that the dollars are getting printed again by the Fed. I want you to listen to what President Trump said. He said, I do like crypto. I think crypto is the way of the future. I think it's going up. You've seen how strong it's going up. He says, maybe we'll pay off our $30 trillion debt with crypto. Now, that sounds good, doesn't it? That sounds good. It sounds like, well, we're seeing, the movement to where there could be debt paid off. Well, because we've done fractional reserve lending, you do realize when we say we're 35 trillion in debt and 39 trillion, 38 trillion, whatever it is at this time, right at 40. And they said, truthfully, if you had the liabilities like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all the government welfare programs, you're over $100 trillion. You do realize there's not even enough money circulating to cover that debt. There's not enough money in circulation, true money. Why? Because of fractional lending, you go to the bank and borrow money that's not even in existence yet, and then they print more. There's not enough money that actually could pay off that debt. So it's become, what is money anymore? What is money? We don't even understand, because we can't concept and grasp how much a trillion is. So I think crypto is going to be their answer, because no one really understands crypto. It's a bunch of energy style currency, coins. And truly what it is, it's not a parallel society. It's not getting away from the government. It's exactly playing into the government's hand of becoming a juggernaut of a new currency. And the new currency will be completely based on grid and based completely on this government subsidized version of it, which is stablecoins. You're going to see a movement towards stablecoins, which is basically going to be CBDC, the one thing that we all pushed against. And here's how they're going to sell it. They're going to sell it to you. They're going to give you more value for your dollar. So for every dollar, you're going to be able to turn in and get $2 to $3 value based on crypto or Bitcoin or whatever they look at, stable coins. That's how I believe they're going to sell it. So everybody's going to want to turn in their dollars. Then they're going to say, not only that, for the people who don't want to do that, we're going to be able to wipe away your debt and wipe away the government's debt based on how quick and how great crypto is doing. So what they're going to do is start wiping away debts, student loan debts, federal debts, even your personal debts. And that is going to make for everybody wanting to get on the system of crypto. Now, do I believe that Trump has some evil plan in this crypto? I don't, but I do believe this is playing right into the globalist hands of wanting to put everybody on one world coin system. I think it's actually bringing in end times. It may make America not have debt, but what is debt? What is money if we don't even understand the mode of exchange anymore? What is a few random quote-unquote tokens on a phone if you can't use them? It reminds me of, if you remember the big tulip, they called it the tulip fair, where the tulips became worth thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. And it wasn't the fact that the tulips were worth that. It was the speculation around it. You saw this with salt. You saw this with gold. You saw this with silk. And eventually, what we realized is a lot of the things that we built value around had tangible worth. Well, sadly, what is the tangible worth of a fake coin on a system? And if it's really that special, and if we're going to use it to pay off all our debts, everybody's going to be for it. And it's going to make it so much easier to implement as a whole system. And I believe Democrats and Republicans alike are going to take this hook, line, and sinker. Beware of what's coming 2026. The encouragement of hearing people like J.D. Vance say what he said, or Nicki Minaj say what she said, that's great. But we need to live that out. And I think what we're starting to realize is like the files, the eugenics, the situations with our government, The XCIA talking about, I don't know if we really need to know the truth, because if we know the truth, I'm scared that it's going to make everybody go crazy. We see the damage of the cities. We have a long ways to go. Things are not quote unquote better. We've got to change the mentality and start back at the family and start building our families back up, bringing value back to husband and wife marriages, and start seeing America truly be rebuilt on the family once more. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. God bless.
Be free, be free, be free.